They will say, how do I get a hold of you, whatever. Then I will send them a Calendly link. And then when we have our conversation on Zoom, I will introduce them to my workflow. That I learned on my journey was how to differentiate from free content and paid content. So free content will give you the what's, you'll get the when's, and you'll get the why's. But paid content will show you how. So in all my audits, and maybe you can even attest to this, in all my marketing outreach, I take a look at what is going wrong. Then I take a look at when things should have been changed, or when things should change after implementing a few tweaks. And then I explain why the client would want to do this. And then I'll also give them a sneak peek into what it looks like when it's done correctly, or why their competitors did well in a certain instance. Then the how is what they pay for. So I say, don't be afraid to give away pave. Give them the old razzle dazzle. Oh, and also like create a sense of urgency, of course. So I let every single prospective client of mine know that their audit will only be available for a specific sort of time. So it's not going to be available forever. There's a 5-day expiration on each of them. So while I do give away a lot of value, it's still my intellectual property and I intend on keeping it. And even after 5 days have passed, and even if the client chooses not to work with me, I still have that for future reference.
Right. Yeah. And so you're not even, this isn't some complicated, like high tech, you need to be paying for fancy software and, you know, doing things with timers and all. Like, this is done with a Loom video that has you on the screen. You're doing the audit, like you're in the corner, and then you're doing the audit with a beautifully branded, like, I'm assuming you made that as like a PowerPoint presentation or something on Canva, and you slot in information that's relevant to your client, but it's a template that you use over and over again. So it's an easy system. It's using Loom, right, which tells you when the video is viewed. People can leave comments on it. They can even record a comment in response to you, and it expires, right? So there is a value of someone could watch that video and probably get a couple of takeaways. And that's in fact where you, I love how you close in the video, because you basically talk about, hey, you have a couple of options here. Like, you can take what I've taught you in this video, and I want you to go implement it, because I want you to know that what I'm telling you is real. I'm giving you tips and strategies that will work, and I want you to feel confident in that. So you're essentially giving them away, like you're giving that little bit of information that will show them that you're the expert, but you've applied urgency to it, and then you've already sort of built like a really compelling foundation for a relationship there. So let's talk a little bit. Can you share how you have, how this has worked out for you, right? Like, how has this strategy, obviously it's worked out very well because you're booked, like you've landed lots of great clients from this. But how has that kind of played out in reality, as far as you're taking someone who's essentially getting a cold pitch over video and has a specific amount of time to watch it? What does that look like as far as your next steps in that relationship?
So I've designed what I call my workflow for this client. So once they've responded to this, usually as a comment, or some of them will say, if I'm reaching out outside of Upwork, they will say, how do I get a hold of you, whatever. Then I will send them a Calendly link. And then when we have our conversation on Zoom, I will introduce them to my workflow. And then I will send them a link to my welcome packet. And then they will see exactly how the things are supposed to happen next. So next, maybe they can pick and choose the services that they want to opt into, and then I can create a really well-rounded proposal around what they need, their deadlines, their budget, and then we can start. I will go back again and just be like, just to be clear, this is what you want, right? And then we can start working together. So I think my workflow and my welcome packet, and the fact that everything is automated, like it's a Calendly link that generates a Zoom link. It's all so automated. It makes it so much easier for myself and for the client, regardless of our time zones.
Yeah. And the systems aspect of this is so important for someone who is scaling their freelance business. Automate when you can. Create resources that you can duplicate and reuse, like the template that you have. And it also speaks to the packaging, right? You're not making these videos and saying, you know, let's talk in depth about a custom package I can create for you. Essentially, they have a handful of options, right? Which is exactly what I teach students to. Like, give them a couple of options, make them see the difference between the, you know, the basic one and why there's a benefit to upgrade. but it's not confusing for you, right? Because you don't have 10 different clients who have all ordered something a little bit different, and this one wants a little bit more work over here and this one doesn't want that service. You've really got it streamlined to listen, like, hey, I'm telling you as the freelancer what the best packages are. This is what I offer within them. And it makes your planning very easy because you're providing the same things to a bunch of clients and not having to, and I think what's unique about that is you being in the digital marketing strategy world, that is not common, right? So a lot of times we have some clients who are like, no, I don't want you managing my social media at all. And then the next client is like, yes, I want you logging into my LinkedIn and posting as me, and mentally carrying that load of, okay, I have 10 clients. They all want something different. They all have different processes and procedures. You have found a way to make it work for you where it isn't overwhelming like that. And so I think that that's really smart. You mentioned your welcome packet. Let's talk a little.
So the welcome packet is actually something I use to thank the client for accepting a call with me and for wanting to get to know me and what I can do for them better. So my welcome packet includes information about me and, most importantly, social proof. So then after I show them the results that I get for others, I go into my workflow, how they can reach me, when they can expect to hear back from me as a paying or a non-paying former client. And then I include frequently asked questions and answers, and most importantly, I educate them on my services. So this means how much the service costs and what they can get out of it, out of that service if they're choosing to purchase a service a la carte, meaning just this one thing. Now, for clients that prefer to purchase a package, then I go through my packages for their specific niche. So what they'll get for the base package, the mid-range package, and the high-end package. And so I call my low-ticket offer the prime offer, you know, like when you prime your prey. And then my mid-range offer is called the hunt offer, and then my high ticket offer is called the kill offer. So most of my clients are hunters. We have the odd killer, but most clients are very happy settling on hunting with me over the long term. And then creating these packages, to be quite honest, has taken me completely out of the feast-famine cycle. So I can plan my business quarters in advance, and I can do monthly forecasting instead of just simply hoping I'll know when the next check is supposed to come from. And my biggest lesson, I have to say, has been be open to receiving clients from anywhere. For my first few years, it was I work on Odesk. Then it was I work on Upwork, leave me alone. But now I'm like open to referrals. I'm open to, I'll take it on Instagram, it's fine. I actually do most of my lead generation on Instagram. I'm open to LinkedIn, and sometimes even through emails. I would just say to anyone listening, be open and do not put all your hope and faith in one single platform that could arbitrarily decide on the word of one disgruntled former client to take food off your table, because we're freelancers, right? So we have the freedom to choose what happens next in our lives. So it's important that we choose well.
Yeah, that's so important, because I cannot tell you how many coaching clients I have worked with who have had one main source of income, whether it's a client or it's a job board, or maybe it's they got all their clients from LinkedIn. You know, when you're putting all of your eggs in one basket, you can go to zero with just one change that one of those platforms makes. What if Upwork decides tomorrow that their new cut per job is 50%? You have to adapt to that or get off that platform. And by having nothing else, you've exposed yourself to that risk. So this is a really smart thing that you're talking about, where other people need to hear this and know that it is, you'll find amazing clients in all kinds of different places, but don't become reliant on one. So I know you went through some mindset shifts in this process too, because I always believe like scaling to the next level in your business is a combination of the strategy and the mindset. And sometimes the mindset stuff can be trickier than the strategy, because you can have the strategy perfect and then you're like, oh, this still isn't working. What is going wrong here? And it's usually the mindset. So can you talk a little bit about some of the mindset shifts you had in this process?
It always goes back to that $15 an hour project. So even though that one ended badly, that was the moment of reckoning for me. Because that's when I realized that clients don't care how much you charge, just that you can get the...
Coming up next on the final installment of my journey to six figures.
Workflow. This is the exact workflow that got me to my first 10K month, just for signing up.